The United States education system has had many flaws, but up until recently it hasn't been as bad. Scores have been decreasing, money expenditure has only been increasing, and overall there is a tremendous amount of work that needs to be done. We have decided to figure out what is wrong and how we can get to the root of the problem and hopefully find a change.
Despite decades of reform attempts and billions of dollars of investment, the American education system badly needs improvement.
It's not where it needs to be. There's too many places that aren't doing well.
The report card shows only 34% of eighth graders are proficient in math, 29% in science, 33% in reading. Compared to other countries, American students score near the bottom, 21st out of 30 in science, and it's even more bleak in math. They're 25th.
Good. One.
The problem, educators say, our most talented minds head into medicine, law, and technology. A teaching career is often an afterthought, given the salary. The average elementary school teacher earns $50,000 a year. Physicians average $100,000 more than that. Another problem is what kids are learning. Unlike most other countries that have national standards of what to teach, in the U.S., it's a state-by-state decision.
Too often people think, well, everybody in education is just all about the kids. But it's an industry like any other where you have a variety of interests.
The end result? Only 70% of kids in this country graduate on time. In the District of Columbia, it's more like half. And it's not because the school system doesn't have any money.
We spend more money per child than almost any other urban jurisdiction in this country, and yet our outcomes are at the absolute bottom.
Why do you think the United States has spent from $4,000 to $9,000 in the last few years on their education without necessarily an increase in scores and benefits?
I think some of what it comes down to a lack of focus. I think every school would consider themselves to be cash-strapped, and I think that's true. And that $9,000 is probably not enough to do what we're asked to do here on a regular basis. However, the question has to come down to where does that money go? Where does it need to go? And sometimes those decisions are made for us at the school level, at the state level, other times they're not. So I think probably looking at a focus of how those funds are actually used.
Do you think a lot of that money is being spent on technology that is used regularly, or education type things like material-wise?
Well, I would not say that any of it is being wastefully spent. I would not make that statement. I think that you're probably looking at a situation where, if you want different results, you have to figure out where the root of that problem is, and then put the money exactly towards that. And I'm not sure that we completely know where some of the problems are as an education across the United States. And so we kind of throw money at problems sometimes and attempt to fix it. And much like all problems, if you throw money at it, it doesn't necessarily fix the problem. It just throws money at the problem.
Okay.
South Korea has one of the highest ranking in education in the world. But how is the school life of students, and how are the school systems? South Korea has great teachers. They are very well trained, respected, and regarded as a second parents, as they hope for success of his or her students. Therefore, the students respect and love their teachers, as well as pay close attention. Another special quality of Korean teacher is the ability to sacrifice his or her time for the sake of the students and the school.
I think in Korea, the students and the teachers have a lot better relationship, a lot deeper relationship, and because of that, the students are a lot more attentive during the class, and they respect the teachers a lot more. And therefore, the teachers themselves are a lot more willing to prepare for classes because the students are very attentive, and they are willing to take the time to try to teach the students as much as possible during the time that they're given.
The students in Korea study throughout the night, totaling up to more than 12 hours a day. Of course, this is very difficult. but students are satisfied in their school life.
I like going to school because there are many good friends and good teachers.
Of course, the setting was difficult, but as much as difficult as it was studying, there were a lot of fun events that the school prepared for every grade, every student in the school. They participated in field trips, and there were a lot of school festivals or carnivals that students were able to enjoy themselves while they're not studying.
To keep students have good relationship with each other, the schools provide big and small events throughout the year. These events help the students make their most memorable memories in school. Therefore, encouraging the students to be satisfied in their school life.
주주한 마음까지 모두 다 녹아내려 버렸죠.
I don't know, it was pretty bad over there, but also had good memories with the students, fellow students. I was able to bond pretty well because we were studying all the time together and have a lot of fun playing soccer and breaking some windows at school. And that's about it.
Of course, there are great teachers in America, as well as the different countries around the world. But what makes education in Korea so special? It is the idea that everyone values education as the most important aspect of one's life.
It was a country in abject poverty, with its land ravaged by war, and did not have even the most meager resources. However, during the busy efforts of restoration, it was nothing but education which became the nation's highest priority. Although they were struggling from day to day, Korean parents did not ignore the education of their children.
So I researched how much impact the idea of having education as the #1 priority. Democracy Prep School is a school in Harlem, New York that brought Korean education ideal to the United States.
So we said at Democracy Prep we're going to build our culture by starting at 7:45 in the morning to 5:15 in the afternoon. We're going to have 6 days a week, Saturday school, we're going to have summer school, and we're going to build the culture. In Democracy Prep, teachers are respected, hard work equals success, and in the school, education is the most important value.
College, my school is very supportive of me going to college. They actually placed college onto my path. I never used to see myself going to college until I actually came here.
I've learned so much being in this school because in the other school that I was in, there was no education, like nobody was teaching. And when I came here, like my life changed because now I care about my education. I'm the first graduating person in my family.
3 years ago, Democracy Prep High School's students performed unbelievably well in the state's graduation exam.
Our students in high school are above the richest students in New York State, in Westchester County. They are beating the students in the best counties in New York State on the Regents exams. And I expect that 100% of our students will go to college. And that's, unheard of for Harlem, unheard of for most of America.
Let's go. Is it all black? Is it all black? Is it all black?
Democracy Prep Schools has crucial rules like Korea. Students must listen to their teachers and show respect all the times.
Like respecting elders. I didn't realize that it was so important in Korea, but I learned that in Taekwondo that you have to respect the master and the elders.
The first thing we're going to talk about today is academic assistance.
The teachers will conference with the students' parents every month.
If I went to any of my parents and I said, here's $1,000, you can use it for anything you want. Most of my families in Korea, hagwon, English camp, more books, college savings, they would use it for education. In Korean culture and in my students in Korea, the highest value was education, and that everything else comes from education. Money, fame, power, those all come from education, but at the core, it's education.
We've seen Korea, we've seen how things work, now we have to take a look at another country. Let's take Russia, for example, and see what we can come up with. If some change were to be made, what do you think the right path would be to be taken here to kind of mimic that sort of effect and to, in general, improve the education here?
I would say that, first of all, children, students, and starting with the parents, they should respect hard work of teachers first. And teachers should be always at the first place, and then will come, students and their parents' opinion about the students. So teachers' opinions should be very important and always come first. And quality of teachers, I would say, should be higher. Today's teachers, their education, their knowledge is not enough it's not sufficient enough. Teachers rely on technology more than their own training and their own knowledge. I would start with teacher training, with more required courses for teachers, for teacher training, as like maybe a lot more literature, more math, more literature, this sort of training, and also methodology, methodics, how to teach, methods of teaching. So more in-depth method of teaching.
Do you think
and of course discipline and respect.
Do you think that how much teachers make compared to other big industries has a part?
Right.
Because maybe if they feel like they are underpaid, they don't take it as seriously.
Exactly. The teachers are really underpaid here, and what is really painful that students know that, and parents know that.
Okay, so what are the major differences between the Russian education system and the American education system, and how exactly does that relate when, talking about scores, and in particular science, because Russia's science scores are very, very highly ranked? What do you think?
First of all, I've been here for almost 13 years, and I'm sure things changed a lot since I came from Ukraine, but as far as I know, first of all, respect to the teachers from students and from parents are a big deal in Russia and Ukraine and all former Soviet republics. Teacher is the most respectable profession in that country and in Europe.
So what about the scores, and in particular science, since Russia is so highly ranked amongst the greater countries in that aspect?
Yes, science, to my opinion, to everybody's opinion, science is based on math. And math is the very, very important subject in all educational system in Russia and Ukraine and all former Soviet republics. We used to, from the very beginning, from the first grade, we used to be said that math is the queen of the all science. And, the way they teach math is completely different than here. It's all mental calculations and like equations in second grade and stuff like that. And then when it comes to science, we start physics very early in the beginning of the middle school. We do physics, we do chemistry every year, every day, and it is very important. It's not elective, it's required courses, and they're very, very important.
We've taken a look at Korea, we've taken a look at Russia. Now we decide to get inside the walls of a modern high school, ours in particular, North Oldham, and see if there really is a problem. Are we really doing something wrong? And if we are, how can we help it and how can we make it better? Taking a look at this physics classroom, we see students engaging in some sort of building activity and overall using teamwork to come up with a solution for their assignment. There is fair amounts of hands-on practice going on, and we can clearly see that there isn't something that is standing out to seem like an issue. So North Oldham is ranked number 2 in the state, as well as in top 3 for the ACT scores for the state. What do you think that North Oldham is doing so well and that other schools can learn from us?
I think we have a tremendous focus on our students and on student achievement, and we really have a strong understanding of what it takes to be successful on the ACT test, what it takes to be successful in all of the AP classes, which really means what it takes to be successful at the college level and in college level classes. We try to apply those things every day. We set very high expectations based upon those, and good things result from that.
Do you think encouraging students to take AP classes has a lot to do with that?
There's no question. We try to push kids into AP as early as we can when they're ready, when it's appropriate to do so. And if you look at our numbers, we're definitely an outlier with that in the nation, not just within the state. And we continue to be very successful. And so, you put people in a position with a challenge, you provide tremendous support, allow them to rise to the challenge, and they do. I think that's certainly helped with the ACT, but more importantly, I think it's going to help with the kids' future.
And regarding the AP classes, are a lot of the students, is the passing rate very high?
The pass rate here is tremendous. It's been 70 or 80% for a long time, and we have classes that are 90 or 100% on a pretty regular basis. And so, and that is not the norm. The norm is 50% or lower with some of the AP exams, and with other schools, it's much lower than even 50%. And so, we have figured out a way to help our students become successful with those. But again, I think the focus is not just on that, but on allowing them to be successful in their future.